Hello there everyone, Xantok here with Slugstar Gaming, and welcome back to some more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Alright, so last time around we proved that, well, Detective Goodman didn't die in the police department, except it kind of sounds like he might have, just at an earlier time, and it might have still been Lana, but maybe at the prosecutor's office. This case is whacked the hell out. I've said that a lot in this series. Well, I've said that a lot in this case, but it is extremely true. This case is nuts. So, we got one more investigation day to go. Let's see what we can dig up. It's now February 24th, 3:12 p.m. and it's in our office. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. I didn't know. I never knew that the SO9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. Wait, what are you talking about? What do you mean what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means, yeah, I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. I didn't see that one coming. You gotta tell me more here. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together when she finished her work. Then, suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture? I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No. I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yeah, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true. Even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really wasn't involved in falsifying evidence. I mean, I don't think it really counts if he wasn't aware it was happening. Like, come on. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold, like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in the instant that the crime occurred? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently, I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago. You must have been 14. It's understandable. Once it was all over, I'd made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any ever again. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. There isn't. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? Oh, no, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. Yeah, we got quite a bit to talk with Lana about. We're having a lot of revelations here, and she has a lot to answer for. Oh, of course, I don't see her. Alright, detention center, let's see what's going on. Oh, there you are. Lana. Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But, Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago? And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. You're goddamn right I do. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one, 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen. I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is that 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana, what the witness, Ms. Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, This doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing! They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? Then he was the vice head of criminal affairs, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could later use that experience in court. Gant's help in the SL9 case was critical in its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the chief detective was, no doubt, Damon Gant. Yes, Damon Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office? We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was a serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when the last murder took place, when he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Detectives Gant and Prosecutor Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages when Dark must have panicked. He waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office, shared by Detective Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So, you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana. It appears so. I was filing some papers with Gant and Marshall while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled of blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her. After all her sister must have gone through? After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. So, let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence, I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because I didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall, yes. His actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The Chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office. The site of the final SL9 murder. I mean, if you say so, Phoenix, I'm willing to go. We just gotta figure out our way over there first. Alright, we're in criminal affairs. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kind of quiet around here today. You're right. The head of the department seems the same, though. Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to? Right. We can come back here later. Fine. So we'll go to the entrance. Hey, it's Jake. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, sir. You never know where life will lead you, hey, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. What? Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But, Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. That's a shame. Truly. I don't care, though. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean, fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, alright. But, in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he? Your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You don't mean King of Prosecutors. Oh, not that again. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SO9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall, there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently, someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Ms. Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, They were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Sky. The Chief Detective Damon Gant and his second in command, Lana Sky. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. Since she's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, it must have said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret? It all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. And that's a wrap on Jake Marshall. Is that Meekins and Gumshoe in the background? That's what it looks like. I mean, it might not be Meekins, but that's definitely Gumshoe. Alright, so let's head... I guess we'll head back inside and see if we can go to the chief's office now. This place is always pretty empty, but today, it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. I feel like I've given the chief a different voice every time he's ever been in an episode. Good lord. I'm just assuming it's a different chief and they get fired every time that in between seeing them. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Oh, thanks. Well, you actually talked to us. Or the chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth. Not to mention our statement to the media and tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just head across the hall to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You think it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there, it's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Emma, I think you misspelled your word, waiting, but okay. Let's head to the chief's office. Well, this guy's not even going to stop because he told us we can't go to the bar. He's like, screw it. They don't pay me enough. And they probably don't. That is an explanation for why his music is piano. He's got a grand piano in his office. Holy shit. Whoa. Where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. It's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. Did they? Did they really? I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. Ooh. Emma, no. Emma, no. Don't do that. I never could remember where C was. Oh, it's you two! Chief Gant. he put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Mr. Wright, have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. Yeah, a couple things are a little bit off about it for me. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. Wow, apparently that's going to be evidence. Okay. Wait a minute. A third thing just came to mind. What the shit is with this picture? I don't like it. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd like to still stay and have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over yet after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean, like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the chief's office. But how? I don't know. Let's go back in and see if we can convince that guy to unlock the door for us? Or something? Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe! Were you in a meeting? I was, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long in the meeting? Actually, I had to serve everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle's between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Alright, Gumshoe. We need to have a talk. But why would Mr. Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence he presents in court. Not only that, but as you know, there's been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. Those who don't like him haven't been able to do anything because of his amazing talent as a prosecutor. But now with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only had that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Hey, Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. It seems you don't have any problem with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Oh, I'm hoping he doesn't. Actually, I took out the file earlier, while the coffee was brewing. seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find anything? The only evidence Stark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who tried to protect some girl? You know that some girl was Emma, who's standing right here? It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's where he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with a murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Well, it certainly can't help, or can't hurt. Let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll talk to him about Darp's crimes. Oh, hang on, went too far. So about this. Hey, don't tell me that's... There's a tag attached to it with the label SL9 Incident. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. It hasn't been though. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. It was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it! Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he just hit someone with his car. With his car? So, it was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady who saw the second crime. A kid walked by just then too, so he killed him too. He started burying bodies. A jogger came up on the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So, he turned himself in. Yeah, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but fortunately, he was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness? He must mean Emma. This knife. It was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at, and it had his fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well, anyway. Take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. Neil's body? That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet. Down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. It is. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gann. It's not money, but it does concern the Chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The Chief's out now and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What? Really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. Well, how about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Well, shit. So, in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting to that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Do we have anything that would do that? I'm kind of doubting we have anything like that. Probably going to be something I have to come back and do later. I mean, we can go ahead and present the team picture, I guess. He's not going to tell us anything about this. Nope. Okay. So let's go elsewhere. See if we can get see if we can get more information before coming back to Gumshoe. The other people who we know that were all involved in this incident were Edgeworth, Angel Star, and Goodman. Goodman's dead, so it's just Star and Edgeworth. I'm not sure if Star is going to have anything else to do in this case. She might be here in the parking lot. If she is, we'll chat. Otherwise, let's go see if we can find Edgeworth. No one's here today. Not even Miss Star. Everyone's probably busy looking into exactly what went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 on the day of the crime. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Then let's go! Also, what's the difference between a high prosecutor and the chief prosecutor? I don't quite understand this relationship. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. Well, there he is! It looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here? He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? Well, cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So, what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. First of all, I'm going to examine that little piece of paper that you threw down because I'm a nosy busybody. Wonder what he was writing before. Come on, Mr. Wright. Let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there. Just distract him. I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground. Hold on. First, let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet. He didn't even look. What? Letter of... If you can't read, I'll read it for you. It says, letter of resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, Mr. Wright. I feel as if something inside me has died. But, Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh. I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation. I wonder if I can use it for anything. Oh shit, we could show that to Gumshoe! Ooh. But first, let's talk to Edgeworth. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. Then, that's what it all breaks down to. And nothing I do can erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean that evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same, no matter what excuses I might have. Mr. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First, last year's trial. Now this one. Seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial. Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? That list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists? That is odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but at the time, there was only one thing on my mind. I'd use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture? That's right, something seems strange about it. Could you tell us again what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered. You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this? Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. You can if you claim you're sick. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes. Just odds and ends. Clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes. It was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. And that's the story we heard yesterday. So, you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to. That's right. Alright, let's show him that team photo of Gant, Lana, and Neely Boy. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes? The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding? It's a little different than yours. Yes, you're right. That was one of the things I was wanting to point out here. I remember now. Remember what? That was the official prosecutor trophy used until that time. There's a story behind it. A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. So before we get him to tell us more about that, I want to go ahead and bring up a few points about this picture. I'll kind of if I can do it when it's shown. Actually, you know what? No, I think if we talk to him again, we'll see the picture again in its larger form, and that'll be easier to show off what I want to talk about. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with two characters. The first means halberd. The second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. But why don't you tell it, though? For Emma's sake. Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day, he presented the king with two items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield that he claimed could withstand any weapon. So it's the whole, immovable object, and unsolvable force question. But those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Kind of an interesting story, actually. Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and the broken knife symbolize... Precisely. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words, but it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Chief Gant. Alright, so I guess he wasn't going to talk about the trophy the way I wanted him to. So the picture showed us not only the trophy looking a little bit different, but it showed us two other things as well. There's this odd knife here in the bottom right. I don't know where that's coming from. It looks like there's a suit of armor next to Lana. It just seems oddly put there. Like, why would that knife be in that photo if it didn't mean something? I don't like it. And then, if you notice, in between Neil and Lana in the background, there's a familiar looking ceramic piece that we pieced together in the evidence room. What the hell's that's doing there? What it's about, I don't know. But we need to go chat with Gumshoe and show him Edgeworth is planning to quit. Excuse me. Oh, it's you. Would either of you care for a quarter-pound of roast beef? Ms. Starr. Guess she's out of lunches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. This can't all be attributed to mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know that little scene I happened to witness? The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. Miss Starr's hatred towards Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. Joe Dark. That's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Skye. My sister? The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course, they were led by that legendary duo. Lana and Chief Gant. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we're so shocked over how it turned out. You mean, with the forging of the evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. But you didn't have proof anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties. Most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? Damon Gant and Lana Skye. 2 years ago, Gant was chief detective and Lana second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism. By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He had produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence? You mean... Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him, though. I take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall? When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would have ever recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Ms. Starr. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to a chief against powerful influence. Chief? That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There's only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. You? The prosecutor's office. What? You mean that's why Lana was transferred? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know. But one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, I am finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Ms. Starr. You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Oh, don't you worry, Miss Starr. We will. It seems like everybody is starting to point the finger at Chief Gant. Pretty much accusing him of something. They're not really being clear whether he's the one that killed Goodman, which when we've seen Lana being the one that killed him, or this Gant told her to do it. That's a possibility. There's also some weird stuff going on with the old case, and he's refusing to let us into his office. But if we can convince Gumshoe to let us in there, we just might be able to uncover something. Oh, you're back! You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ. A DJ? You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means a desk jockey. Oh. That DJ. I gotta admire your persistency, but my answer is still no. I'm not letting you in the chief's office. Period. It'll be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Oh, there is. Hey, Gumshoe, what if he told you that Edgeworth was planning to quit? What would you say? What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious. Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. At first I thought he was as cold as ice, but now I know different. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence, but we betrayed him. Detective? That's it. I've made up my mind. But, here, take my ID card. We can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So, at least let me do this. For Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Alright, Detective. Thank you. Alright, let's go back to the Chief's room and get in there. Here goes, Mr. Wright. I would not be shocked if Damon Gant has an alarm system that tells him when something goes on, when someone enters his room. Open sesame. If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner. Oh, that was Phoenix saying that. Oh well. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Oh, you came with us. I wasn't expecting that. Did you just slap Gumshoe? Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Detective Gumshoe! What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too. If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card? Give it back. Hey, don't do that to my card. Was it gonna be your card for much longer? I mean, I don't know, man. I hardly ever got a chance to come in here, so I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now. You really do want to get fired, don't you? Not if we're lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out. I've got a bad feeling about this. Alright, so I guess we're gonna be... Is there anything we can talk to him about before we start investigating? Sure, let's go ahead and have a quick chat. Might as well. That desk on the other side of the room, was that your sister's? Yeah, that's where I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now? No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. That's a strange reason to leave it there, but okay. He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time. I see. So, ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk? No one except Chief Gant and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning. Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining. Can I ask you something? Sure. You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SO9 crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it? Why do you ask? You don't think... Nah, you wouldn't be. No. What is it, Gumshoe? No, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Okay. Now then, let's look around a bit more. Hey, hold on. Not so fast, buddy. What? When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal. You don't just let it go at that. Sorry. Okay. This is starting to get on my nerves a little. Okay, so what's bothering you? You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you? What? Yeah, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Well, he's definitely odd. Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings yet. There he goes, ignoring me again. Sorry, Gumshoe, but we need to examine a few things in this room. Thank you very much. I'm starting with this suspicious statue. I don't like his knife. It bothers me. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons? Sure is, pal. The chief doesn't care for imitations. First the pipe organ, and now this armor? Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room? What? You mean we're paying for this? Oh, that's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes. You don't have any taxes to pay. Be careful what you say. Who knows? The chief may be hiding this armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit in here. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out. Cut it out. You guys don't know how scary that guy can be. I mean, that's true. Wow, look at the size of Chief Gant's desk. Speaking of that, when we were here earlier... Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. I wonder what he was reading. This looks like a list of evidence. Used in a case. A list of evidence? In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this. Hey, look at the case name. SL9 incident. I wonder what this is doing here. Hold on, detective. What did you just say? I said, I wonder what... No. About evidence lists. Normally they're twice as long? That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. A half-size list of evidence. That list of evidence, it seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. What would the other half of the list be doing here? I knew it! The chief must be hiding something about that case. It would appear so. I want to check out that evidence list here real quick, like. See if it shows us everything that's on it. Alright, it's ripped in half, so only one part remains. Oh! What's on the other half then, I wonder? Is there really nothing I can examine about it? Alright, let's flip it out. The fuck is this? That's Emma's drawing of the murder. What is he doing with that? I wonder what this is. It looks like someone drew some kind of sketch here. What is it? Did you find something? I can't make it out. I better keep quiet about it for now. No, it's nothing. Why are your eyes moving around like that, Mr. Wright? I better not forget about this picture. Alright, let's keep examining. Is that a safe? This is the safe, isn't it? Safe? That word is ripe with intrigue. Okay. If you say so. It looks like a code needs to be entered in this panel to open it. A 7-digit number. I think I might just know what it is. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. You want to try my birthday? It's... No, Gumshoe, I don't want to try your birthday. Thank you. I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Alright, so we're going to be doing some more... Oh, wait, no, are we not? Oh, I thought we were going to do, like, fingerprinting. So, the only number I can think of that to do here that we know that's a 7-digit number is the different ID cards that we've had. And there's one ID card that has been a mystery this whole time. And we know it's an upper-level management type person that has this number. So let's go ahead and give a shot of 777 777 7. Well, look whose ID that is. What number did you enter? Whose birthday was that, pal? 777 777 7. The final ID card number on that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean 777 777 7? That ID number? I think you're 1 7 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number. Say, anyone care to look inside? Hell yeah, I do. What's in the safe? Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away? Look, it's a shard from a broken cup. This somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? There's something else in here too. A bloody handprint? What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth. Oh, it's not blood, it's just a handprint. This is a handprint, isn't it? Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made up the design? I don't think so. Oh, well, it was just a thought. Is that it? This is all that was in the safe? Apparently so. It's empty now. A piece of cloth with a handprint on it. And a broken shirt from a cup? They look like pieces of evidence. But unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here. Great. I have to prove their relevancy to get them? How are these two items related to the SL9 incident? Come on, there's gotta be something we can show the detective. Oh, I think there is. Because that broken shard looks like it's a piece, that little bit of pottery that we tried to help him fix earlier. And it seemed like it was missing a piece. Detective Gumshoe, could you have another look at this jar? All of us put that back together. Oh, those were the days. It's kind of early to be nostalgic, but okay. Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case? That's right. One of the shards had an SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found? You mean this one? That's in the safe? Yeah, that one. That was in the safe. Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Hell yeah, let's go. Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. If I can piece this together again, it'll prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. Alright. Combine. Oh, with the rotate it, I guess. There we go. Oh, look, a perfect fit. Who'd have thought? There. Fits like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. But, hey guys, get a load of this. What is it? This piece we just attached is different from the others. There's blood. There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line? That's blood. I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe? The unstable jar has been updated. Woohoo! So, Gumshoe, can we talk to you more about it? No. Can we present the fully assembled thing to you? Will that be what we need to do? I don't know, but I'm going to give it a shot. I feel a lot better now that the jar is complete. But it only raises another question. What was the piece of it doing in the chief's safe? More importantly, why wasn't there any money in there? Isn't that what safes are for? I have a feeling the outcome of tomorrow's trial just might hinge on this. Okay. Let's try the luminol. Hey, I just bought some of that stuff. Now I can go around detecting blood traces too. Wow, is that a new type? I've never seen that bottle before. Add 3 inches to your base height. Base height? Hey, let me see that. Looming tall, new and improved growth formula? You mean this can't detect any blood traces? Well, it's not quite the same thing as luminol. So that's what the lady at the counter had that smirk on her face. Aw, poor Gumshoe. Maybe the fingerprint exact. Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this. Hey, I know what that is. So you want to take some fingerprints? That's a great idea, Detective. Alright, go to town. What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that? Go ahead. Take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints we want to take. Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe. Oh! I knew that. The one with the handprints on it, right? Where's your sense of humor? I left it at home, actually. Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. Then, once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told 1,000,000 times. Alright, let's get this over with. Alright, let's go ahead and take this finger. It looks like it's the clearest. Maybe the thumb, but we'll go ahead and start with this one up here. Powder time! Alright, now that it's up there, let's go ahead and blow some of that away. Alright, you just need to show off a little bit more here at the top and the bottom. And then that should do it. Alright, let's see if it's Gant. Oh, it's not. Interesting. Who could it be then? Okay. Not what I expected. No, that doesn't match. Looks like we're out of clues this time. Yeah. But it was inside the chief's safe. Right. Along with that shard. So that means it's got to have something to do with that incident. The one that happened right here in this room. She's right. We should check the fingerprints of everyone who was in here that day. The way I see it, there's a higher power at work here. You just gotta have faith. Alright, so let's try Joe. Oh, we don't have Joe's. We don't have Neil either. So I guess Lana? Well, that's not a match. Okay. The only other person in the room that we know of whose fingerprint we had was Emma. It's a match. Emma, the fuck you do? No. How can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they? Well, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints. Hey, you. Over here. What's up? What's going on here? What are that kid's prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Look, let's just keep this information from Emma for now. Here. Maybe you should hold on to this. Thank you. Well, was that any help? Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. Now that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right, you in the coat? We got busted. We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Just then I thought of a certain detective. Do you mean me, sir? Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sir. Sorry. Oh, you in the coat. Me, sir? Drop off your ID card on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore. But, sir... Oh, I'm sorry. We just got gumshoe fired. Now, get out. Yes, sir. We'll be on our way too, then. Wait, You, the one without the spiky hair. Don't go yet. Me, sir? I'd like a word with you. But, sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet. You with the spiky hair. You are free to go. Mr. Wright? Gant, you have no ability to keep her. So, we have big problems. Look, pal, if I told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired. Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Kent was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. It's hard to believe anyone could keep quiet about it all this time. Anyway, you listen to me. I'm gonna try to smooth things over with the Chief again. Later, pal. After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police want to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. I don't like that at all. Lana, I'm sorry, but we lost your sister. I see. So the Chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple days is absolutely nothing, not a single useful thing. Really. I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. Who it is you're hiding behind those words. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is a term he used, I believe. Now's my chance to get able to tell me the rest of the story. Alright, Lana. Let's talk. I have to admit, I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. But that's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so. Because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say? So you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No. I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, who, may I ask, is this person you're speaking of? The one I am supposedly so frightened of? What is this person's name? Oh, their name? It's quite simple, really. It's Damon Gant. Well, Miss Skye? Mr. Wright, you are addressing the Chief Prosecutor. Do not forget your place. Technically, you're not the boss of me, so cool yourself. I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans. My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about the circumstances? Sure. We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes. Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant. Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly investigated that evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation. Yes, you, but also one other, Damon Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case. Well, how about the urn whose a piece of he kept hidden in his personal safe? How about that? I just found this in a safe in the chief's office. This jar piece and this strip of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. I cannot disobey the Chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate. In the murder of Detective Goodman, or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Just as I suspected. Despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Mr. Edgeworth's car. The trunk was broken. I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from the SL9 incident? Serial killer Joe Dark's knife? I couldn't just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be Edgeworth's knife. That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that's the reason for the bandage on your right hand. Yes, it seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then, she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Miss Starr. Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible. So, you hid Dark's knife. The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that. So, you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it. In Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Right. Then, I called my sister. To tell her what happened, and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma? I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. A bad feeling. The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him? The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. Or at least, I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean not wanting the case to die. He decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Officer Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card, but it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So, your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room. I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But, Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now, please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago. Well, everyone, that is going to be the end of another episode. Next time, we're returning to court. We're going to try and prove that it wasn't Lana. But going up against the chief, this is going to be rough. I'll see you all then. Bye, everyone.